Willpower is a terrible business strategy. If you're relying on motivation to get work done, your business is super fragile. The most successful founders don't have more discipline than you do. They just have better systems for handling emotions, work, and discomfort. So here are three mental frameworks or solopreneur superpowers you need to build a sustainable business. The first one is detachment, or the ability to detach from your emotions. My expectations about work didn't track at all with the reality I was confronted with. And this disconnect caused tons of frustration because I made one critical mistake I wasn't even aware of. But let me put this into context first. So, as IT department head, I was an employee. I had applied to a job ad, I did the interview, I got hired, and I worked inside a hierarchy in a managing position. My job description was to digitalize a branch of the government. So I came up with solid strategies and plans to do just that. 3 months, 6 months, 1 year goals. I had it all mapped out and I was working overtime almost every week to get it done. I was fully invested in the mission, believed in it, and genuinely wanted to make the government more efficient or more effective. Other people there didn't feel the same way though. The majority of employees didn't care actually. Most of them were trying to avoid any kind of extra work. And their managers, on the other hand, were more interested in holding on to their power and their control. A digital process that could be handled by an employee without the manager micromanaging every step of the way was somehow a threat to them. They hated giving up control. So long story short, I ran into walls again and again when it came to using digital workflows as a way to increase efficiency in the workplace. And over time, this constant resistance got to me. I started to have all sorts of emotions about it, which meant I usually came home at night to complain a lot about those damn people at work. Let's be honest, right? We all do it. I was completely unable to detach in this situation because, and this is the one critical mistake I made, I had the wrong mindset up here. I took it personal when my work, my ideas, and my solutions were neither appreciated nor applied. So I had to learn two things first. Number one, never mistake courtesy for consent. Never assume that other people have the same goals or agenda as I do, even if they agree with me on the surface. And two, I had to flip a mental switch up here, from employee to consultant. Why? Well, because I had unrealistic expectations about the job in the first place. Once that sunk in, I stopped being angry, frustrated, and emotional. I was able to detach from work by reframing my position. That way, I started acting like a consultant. I literally told people, my job is to advise you in matters of digitalization. Here's a whole list of things I can do for you, and I'm happy to help you digitalize your workplace. But ultimately, it's up to you guys how well this will turn out. Sometimes they took my advice, sometimes they didn't, sometimes they said they would act on it, and then they didn't. The big difference for me was that I didn't have any negative feelings about it anymore. It's not that I had quit mentally or stopped caring about my work. I was still invested, but I simply drew a line up here and reframed my context. So this kind of detachment, flipping that switch and reframing the situation, that's a superpower you need as solopreneur as well. Otherwise, work will burn you out eventually, especially because you're much more invested in what you do now than any random job you might have had before. Running your own business comes with a much higher emotional investment, let's say, than flipping burgers at McDonald's, which makes it even more important to detach from it to some degree. So how do you achieve that in practical terms? Well, let's say you're frustrated about how things are going right now. How do you detach? The simplest way I found is to write down what you think your job is. What are your tasks, your responsibilities, and so on. And when you're done with that, question if that is a realistic expectation. Solopreneurs easily fall into this trap thinking they will handle the job of 5 people all by themselves, making decisions as CEO, doing product development, IT support, marketing, accounting, and whatnot, all within a regular 8 to 12 hour workday. It's kind of a red flag to expect this to go well and being a natural talent at it at the same time. Now, detachment doesn't mean throwing in the towel and giving up on doing the work, or even mentally quitting. It means cultivating more accurate expectations, ideally in form of a brief statement. Something like, my job is to do this, and this is how I can achieve that. Then use that statement as the baseline to judge your progress against, and not unrealistic expectations that haven't been vetted in the first place. The second solopreneur superpower has less to do with a mindset shift and a lot more with productivity. Systematize everything. That's my first thought every time I start a new task. How can I package this into a workflow that's not just efficient but repeatable? Call me lazy, not crazy, but I don't want to remember all the steps that go into making and uploading a video on YouTube, for instance. It's a process that requires no creativity whatsoever because it's the same every single time. Upload video file, add title, add description, schedule for publication. I want a dependable system for that so that I can achieve a consistent level of quality. I'm kind of selfish in a way. I hate waking up at 3 a.m. wondering if I added tags or a title to a video that went live a few hours ago. I rather sleep knowing I did all of that because I went through a checklist. And uploading videos is only one example, of course. I have multiple checklists and routines to do all kinds of tasks. The advantage of having them is not just restful sleep, which is important, but it's about achieving a level of quality that's consistent while at the same time speeding up workflows. Because I don't spend time thinking about it anymore, like the steps I mean. I free up mental capacity with these systems that I can use in form of creativity. And before we get into the argument of, yeah, but writing a checklist takes way too much time that I could use to do something else instead, let me put it this way. Creating a system is a one-time investment. Yes, it might look like more work at the time, but if you have to figure out 5 times in the next 5 weeks how to upload a video to YouTube without forgetting essential steps, I think spending half an hour on writing a checklist beats 5 weeks of inconsistent progress. And it pays big time to install that question, how can I package this into a system, before starting a new task, especially because we're going to be confronted with new workflows all the time as solopreneurs. So write it down and put it on your desk. How can I package this into a system? Superpower 3 is a big one that not many people possess anymore these days. Being able to sit with discomfort. Before we apply this in the business context in a minute, let's first talk about this by looking at human beings in general. So most people are experts at 2 things. Running towards happiness and pleasure, that's one, and running away from pain, that's the other one. So just imagine that would burn calories. I mean, all that running, it's amazing. But the point is, it's a rare skill nowadays to endure any kind of discomfort. We engineer our whole lives as best as we can to avoid it. And when we're confronted with it, we struggle to deal with it. So instead, we come up with all sorts of excuses and life hacks to relieve that discomfort, without solving the underlying issue, of course. Deep down, we all know there will come a point in time where we need to face the discomfort, whatever it is, and then overcome it. But until then, we're masters at avoiding it. So most people do this. They deal with their discomfort in the moment with tips and tricks and hacks to get some quick relief. The problem with this approach is that over the long run, the intensity of discomfort actually increases because the true source of discomfort is never addressed and dealt with properly. And then what happens next? Midlife crisis or total breakdown, which ironically increases the discomfort exponentially because it happens in a very short amount of time. Then comes the reset. We stop lying to ourselves and look at what really caused all the pain in the first place, in order to solve it. Those of us who can do that properly decrease their discomfort significantly. That's usually when people talk about having found purpose. Now let's apply this in the context of running a solo business. It comes with a lot of discomfort, pain, and fear built in. It's literally part of the package deal. And what's worse is that not all the discomfort can be resolved within a few days or weeks. Some business pains might haunt us for years before we're able to deal with them. Outsourcing certain tasks, for instance, is a legitimate way to optimize the business. Even for solopreneurs, it's not written in stone anywhere that we have to do all the work ourselves all the time. But a major pain for said solopreneur might be that he or she can't afford to outsource work just yet. Maybe it's because of lack of financial means or any other reason. And that means somehow enduring ongoing discomfort because the situation causes friction and a solution is not in sight today, tomorrow, or even next week. And since this is business we're talking about, it's not just that one situation, it's many. Many little pains all over the place. So sitting with discomfort is a crucial superpower to stay sane until the pain can be dealt with, even if it takes a while. How can we practice that in real life now? Well, having clear goals is a good start. Even more important than simply setting goals is to have systems in place to transform goals into action steps. A clear why is essential, and any form of progress, especially progress that is made visible, is the best antidote here. If we can see that we're moving in the right direction on a big picture level, for instance, it's a lot easier to sit with the discomfort in the here and now. Figure out your why in the business context. Transform big goals into small action steps and make progress visible. That's the best way to sit with discomfort without going nuts. So, if you want to run your business more efficiently from day one and you need a proven framework for all of that, you should totally watch this video next. That's it for today. Thanks for watching, and I see you next time.